All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Adobe CC Design Live. My name is Terry White. My pleasure to be here streaming to you live once again. And this time we're going to do it all on mobile. We're going to talk about mobile. We're going to talk about what you can do with mobile, what you can't do with mobile, or what you can do. And of course, how it all ties to the desktop if you are trying to go from mobile to the desktop. So welcome everyone. I see Joel, I see Adolf, I see Afron, if I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, apologize. Welcome. Let me just get one more screen up here. If I can never have too many screens. And let's go ahead and switch over to my computer so you guys can take a look at what I'm about to do. All right, so I've got my iPad Pro running here so that you guys can see it. Also note that everything I'm about to show you should work on Android the same. Everything I'm about to show you is free. So whether you're a Creative Cloud member or not, you can take advantage of these workflows. The only time you need to be a Creative Cloud member, so let's get that out of the way, is if you plan to sync what you do back to the desktop and continue working on it. If you just want to use the mobile apps and create a design or edit a photo or do whatever it is, draw a picture and save it and share it and that's it, then yes, you can do all of that on your mobile devices for free. All the mobile apps that I'm about to show you work on both phone and tablet. So there isn't one that's specifically for a tablet or specifically for a phone. I've shown most of these apps many times on phone. The reason I'm showing it on the iPad is just because it's bigger. It's just a bigger screen. But there's no reason why you couldn't do any of what I'm about to show you on your smartphones as well. So whether they're iOS or Android. All right, so let's think about the graphic design process or workflow or what's involved. When I think about having to do a layout, and I'm just say desktop for now, I think, okay, I got to get my photos together. So that means Lightroom and Photoshop. I've got to get any vector illustrations together. So that means Illustrator usually. And then I'm going to bring it all together and lay it out in InDesign. That would be my workflow. And of course, I probably would need some color swatches either from the client or from my own brain or from an image that I'm going to use. Probably going to want to pick some type styles and things like that. So those kind of are the traditional thoughts that go into the tools, at least, that you're going to design with. Those would be the tools I would use on the desktop. Well, do I have those same tools on mobile? Yes and no. You have tools that are complementary to the desktop apps, but you don't have like a full-blown version of Photoshop on your mobile device. You don't have a full-blown version of Illustrator. But in most cases, you don't need that because you're not trying to do everything that those 10, 15, 20, 30-year-old apps have been doing for all that time. You just really need to get in quickly on your mobile devices and get out. Hey, Malcolm, what's up? Hey, Thomas, welcome. Thank you. All right, so again, I've got my iPad Pro. Let me flip it back around. Also, I didn't need to pick up every single thing I have here. I have it, and by the way, this question came up last time I showed a mobile app. Does it have to be an iPad Pro? The answer is no. It does not need to be an iPad Pro. It could be, once I said that, the person went all the way back and tested it on an iPad 2. So it definitely does not need to be the Pro version. However, if you do have the Pro version, of course, I recommend using the Apple Pencil when it comes time to draw. All right, so with that said, what am I going to do? So let's go in and let's go to my Adobe folder where I've got my Adobe apps. And let's start with where I would start as a photographer. Let's start with the photos. Let's do a couple of basic quick things there. So I'm being distracted by a message I'm seeing here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So let's go in and I go to Lightroom. And in Lightroom, I've got an album called Adobe Lightroom CC Live, and it's got some of the photos in it that I need. One of the photos I want to use, and by the way, the design is for a postcard, magazine cover, whatever it is. We're going to call it Great Ideas. So that's what we're aiming for, is the ultimate design is going to be based on great ideas. So Chris Dahl, what's up? Welcome. So I have a nice image here from last week's Creative Jam of people like raising their hands. And then let's say they're raising their hands with ideas. The only thing I don't like about this photo, other than I'm kind of moving and out of focus, but forget me for a minute, is I don't like that you can't see all the words on the left-hand side. So that first word says competition, the second word says design. So they either need to say what they're supposed to say, or I would rather them not be a distraction and have them out of the image completely. So I don't really need any image or any text on that screen. So I'd rather just get rid of the little bit of text or half the text is there. So to do that, if I were going to do this on the desktop, I'd send it over to Photoshop, use the healing brush, clean it up, send it back to Lightroom, and away I'd go. Same process on mobile. I've got Lightroom Mobile here, which is available to download and open up photos, but I've also got Photoshop Fix. So Photoshop Fix is for doing retouching and editing and removing distracting elements and that whole retouching workflow that you would do if you were on the desktop. So think of Photoshop Fix as all the retouching tools in a mobile app. Not everything that Photoshop can do, but most of the things that people would need for retouching. So for example, I'll hit the share button and you'll notice that there's an edit in from Lightroom CC on my iPad. So if I choose edit in, I can choose what resolution. I'm going to go maximum resolution and I get two choices. Now, Photoshop Fix can do more than these two things, but these are the two things that most people will want to do when they're going from Lightroom to Photoshop Fix and back. If you needed to do more, you need to replace colors, you need to do a lot more, then you would just go to Photoshop Fix and open up the photo. That way you'd have access to everything. But I'm going to do healing in Photoshop Fix. That will render out the full resolution of this image, send it over to Photoshop Fix where it takes me right into the spot healing brush, patch tool, clone stamp, red eye reduction, all of the tools that I would normally need. And I'm already in the spot heal, and I'm just going to go ahead and adjust my brush size. Did I lose my Apple Pencil? I think I did. All right, hang on one second here. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to adjust my brush size, and I'm just going to go ahead and brush this out. So once I brush that out with the spot healing brush, just like in Photoshop, it removes it. Same thing here for the half word of design. Just going to go ahead and take that out. Now the little blue lights, that's okay. I don't care about those. That kind of actually lends to the image. Now, of course, I could use clone stamp. I could start removing other things in the photo that may be a distraction. Maybe not. There we go. And so, for example, that one's being a little stubborn. I was about to switch to patch to do it. But you can start retouching and fixing your photo to your liking with Photoshop Fix. So again, Photoshop Fix is free to use. Does it use content-aware technology to heal and remove? It absolutely does. All right, so now, if I'm done, which I am, you notice at the very top, there's a blue bar going across the top that simply says, Save and Return to Lightroom. That's exactly what I want to do. Save and return, which means take it back to Lightroom and put it right next to the original. So the original is there with the words, and the new one is there next to it. So that way I didn't lose anything. I didn't replace my original, because Lightroom's always a non-destructive workflow. And same non-destructive workflow that I would have going from Photoshop on the desktop or Lightroom on the desktop to Photoshop and back. It will make a copy and not mess with my original, especially if it's a raw file. All right, so Lightroom to Photoshop, back into Lightroom, syncing, of course, that will all happen in the background. Looks like we're synced and up to date. And my photo, we can, of course, keep going with this, but I don't have so much time. So I could keep working on photos, but you get the idea. All right, so next up, let's say that I want to get some colors for my design. I showed this postcard. I literally received this in the mail last time I was on stream. And I showed that postcard, and I used it for the type. I'm going to use it this time for the colors and the type. So let me go ahead and fire up another app, Adobe Capture CC. Capture just keeps getting better and better and stronger and stronger. another free app. So far we've talked about Lightroom CC, Photoshop Fix, Capture CC is next. So let's do Capture CC. And I'm going to switch over to the Colors tab. And notice it's all going into a library called at the very top, Adobe Live 2018. You can use any of your CC libraries to capture this stuff or create a library on the spot. All right, so I'm going to bring up the camera, which will bring up the camera on my iPad so you can see it live. And if I'm happy with what I'm focused on, I may not be happy with the colors it's picking, but I'm happy with what I'm focused on. I'm just going to tap the screen. That will freeze it. I can now put the card down. And then I can say, oh, well, it picked some colors, but those aren't all the colors I want. So for example, instead of this black edge, I definitely want to get that yellow in the lemon or whatever that is. I definitely want to get so I'm moving the little circles around that it was doing randomly. I'm moving them around to specific spots for specific colors that I want. Let's see, we got the green. We have there's usually 5 of these, so I try and figure out where all 5 are to make sure they're getting things that I want. Okay, so this one's grabbing the brown of the board. It could grab the light green of the background. It could grab the nice green there. Let's say that I want that one. And where's my pinkish color? My pinkish color is on his hand. So I'm going to grab the orange color that's on I guess that's chicken. All right, so now we've got those colors locked in. I can go ahead and say, and now I can go ahead and hit the shutter button. This is what I want. And now it will give me some editing capabilities. So even if you didn't get quite the color you were looking for, or quite the shade, or quite the whatever, you can still make some adjustments here. You can also switch in and say, hey, this is going to be for a CMYK layout. It's going to be for an RGB layout, whatever it's going to be. I like to keep my colors in RGB as long as I can. Well, it depends. If I'm working for print, definitely, then I'll go to CMYK. But you get the idea. So I'm going to switch to this orange. I'm going to say, you know what? I wish that were just a little bit more of that color and a little bit brighter. All right, I'm going to switch to this one. This one's also kind of dull. Maybe give it a little bit more of that color. And this one is dull on purpose. So let's darken that up a bit. And let's brighten this one up a bit. All right. So now I've got my colors. Oh, these two are kind of too much the same. So let's make that a little bit more yellow. And there we go. All right, so I'll save that. It'll ask me for a name. I'm just going to call it Postcard because that's where I got it from. And done. And I can also choose to publish this on color.adobe.com so you could find it. You could find one called Postcard, and it would be my color swatches. All right, so I've got my postcard colors in there. We're going to do one more thing while we're in Capture. So Capture can capture shapes, basically take a picture of something, convert it to vectors. It can capture type styles, which is what we're going to do next. It can capture colors, which we just did. It can capture materials, 3D materials for Adobe Dimension. It can capture patterns, which used to be just for Photoshop, but now you can capture vector patterns as well. And you can even make brushes to use in your designs. All right, so now that we've got this color, let's go to type. There's already a character style there. And the same thing, I'm going to use the same card, same postcard that we had before. I'm going to fire up the camera. And now because we're capturing type, it puts a blue line on the screen that says, position the line you're trying to capture above this. So if I was trying to capture that word hello, I'm trying to do this with 2 hands and hold the iPad at the same time. Much easier to do with a phone. I'll say that that's kind of what I want. Now it's probably going to grab fresh below it. Yep, that's what I figured. Because sometimes it has a hard, especially when you're shaking, it has a hard time guessing which one to get. So it grabbed fresh, which is okay because I can still move this around. I can resize this. That's why it gives you handles, because it knows it will guess wrong sometimes. And I can go ahead and grab my hello. Now, even if it may not guess the word hello because of the type style and if it's touching other things, but that's okay. Long as I can understand, as long as I can get it to get most of the characters, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the OK. It's going to come back and say, yep, I figured it would guess the wrong type, or wrong word, but that's okay because at the very bottom on the right-hand side, there's a button that says change text. So I'm going to change the text to what it was supposed to say, which was hello. All right. Done. And now it starts to show you what it guessed that are fonts that are close. It definitely will not always get dead on because it can only use the fonts that are in Typekit. But if there's a Typekit font that's close to what you grab, it will present it here and let you use it. Or not even, it doesn't even have to be close. If it's just one you like, then you're good to go. So I kind of like this Atcha regular. That kind of looks kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and select that one and save it. So that becomes my character style. And I'm going to call this, what do we say this is going to be? Great ideas? Great ideas. So just so I'll know what it's for. All right, so now we'll go ahead and save that to the library as well. And that gives me my great ideas character style. I could go on and on and on. Okay, do those fonts have to be synced to your account or does it draw from all available online? It has to be synced with Typekit to your account. So it has to be a Typekit font. And again, all available, not just the ones you have synced. So I've never used that Atcha before, if that's what you meant. So it grabbed it from all available Typekit fonts because I'd never used that one before. All right, if that's what you meant. And I think that's what you meant. All right, so I can keep going, but you get the idea. Capture is cool for capturing stuff, so you can use it. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And now let's say that I want to draw something. It's going to be very, very quick and rudimentary because I don't draw. I'm not an artist. But let's say I wanted to play. Let's say I wanted to delve into art. You should always step outside your comfort zone. So I'm going to do that right now in front of you. I'm going to switch over to Adobe Draw CC. Adobe Draw is the closest thing to Illustrator on your iPad or Android or iPhone or whatever it is. I should say mobile. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign for a new project. It's going to let me choose what format, which is kind of cool. I don't really need a specific format for this. Let's just go with a square. And now I can start using the vector drawing pencils and tools, or I can even use vector shapes. I can go grab shapes from my library, things that I've captured with Capture CC. And I can even use some stamp shapes as well. Some of the ones that are already here, like the wow and the thought bubble and things like that. So if I want to grab those, I could. But anyway, I'm just going to try something a little free form. I'm just going to venture outside my comfort zone and try and draw something. So I have the various types of brushes and pencils here. I'm going to go ahead and tap on this one, which will also give me color and size. Let me grab that Apple Pencil once again. And I'm going to try and draw. Bear with me. It will not be good. But I'm going to try and draw a light bulb. So here we go. Terry's light bulb. All right, so I got to get the bulb shape first. I'm doing this all by hand. I could cheat and use a shape, but nope. I just want this to kind of have that rough feel to it. It's going to be very rough. All right, here we go. All right. Not bad for my light bubble. It's not perfectly round, but we're there. All right, close enough. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw the little grooves that you would screw it in with. And let's see if I can draw. And of course, I can work in layers, so I could make a new layer just for the grooves. So there we go. Let's go ahead and draw that one. Not too shabby. And let's draw another one. Oh, undo. That one was not going to be good. There we go. And I could duplicate them, of course, instead of drawing them all individually. But I want them all to be a little different. And when I say a little different, I mean a lot. Okay, so anyway, we got our light bulb there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my brush size up just a bit and put my little, hey, the light's on. The universal, the light's on, or the light came on thing there. And now I'm going to switch to a different brush. We'll get one that's a little tapered. And before I do that, I use a new draw feature. I've not ever used this before, other than just I tested it earlier to see if it works. I'll switch to a color. And where I'm going to get the color from, boom, you guessed it. Those are my themes in that Adobe Live 2018 library. So I can grab one of the colors like that orange and just hold down inside my shape. It didn't work because the shape's probably not completely closed. But if the shape's completely closed, it will fill it like that. I can't fill it. Okay, hang on, let me go back. Let me go to the picker. Let's go all the way black. Let's see if we can fill this up a little bit. Shouldn't have to close it off that way, but you know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do this. I just want to show you how this feature works. I don't need it that badly. But now if I were to switch to a color, back to our colors, back to our library, back to that orange. There we go. That's what it should have done. All right, so, and I can even go back to my original draw layer. And let's do this. Let's do something cool there. Ooh, turn it off, turn the opacity off, or turn it off, or transform it, or whatever. But I'm just going to make it kind of like a little outline now. I'm going to turn something bad into something not as bad. All right, so there we go. We've got our light bulb there. I can't fill that one. Can't fill that one. You know why? Because I didn't close them all the way around. But anyway, if it's a closed shape, you should be able to fill them. But there's nothing stopping you from, of course, wrong layer. Oh, maybe it was because I was on the wrong layer too. That might have helped. Oh, I was on the wrong layer. That's why. Okay, anyway, so we got those closed. Oh, I wonder if that's why I couldn't fill the other one. Let's see. Nope, I just couldn't fill the other one. All right, so just checking. All right, so now we got this in place. Sorry, I'm geeking out on Draw here. We got Adobe Illustrator Draw in place, and you know what? The more I see it, the more I don't like that layer. So let's just go ahead and turn it off. I just hid the layer, and that was going to also contain. Can't draw on an invisible layer. Yes, you're right. All right, that looks really bad. Let's undo that. We got to fix that. We can't go out with that. We've come so far. All right, let's go back. One last one. Undo. All right, last thing. It's too thick, but we'll live with it for now. I just cannot get that to fill the way I want. But anyway, we'll just paint over it. No big deal. All right, so now we have our really, really bad light bulb, but it's done. Let's close that. And it's already syncing that to Creative Cloud as my Adobe Illustrator Draw project. Now, keep in mind, and this is for any of these apps that you're drawing or creating or doing things in, if I wanted to open this up in Illustrator where I'd have a lot more control and I can do a lot more with it, or Photoshop if I wanted to paint on it or whatever, you could always open this up in your desktop apps. So you could say, send this over to Illustrator on desktop, so where I could at least have a better shot at doing something better. Or open it up in Photoshop where I'm more comfortable in Photoshop, so forth and so on. But if I'm sticking to mobile, I'm done. We're just going to close it and it'll be there when we need it. All right, so now what else? And by the way, people that really know what they're doing can draw really cool things. So this is the kind of stuff people do in Illustrator Draw. So by no means should you take my ill attempts to draw a light bulb as something that this is all this can do. This is the kind of stuff that people do in Illustrator Draw every single day. So kudos to the people that have talent. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and let's put it all together. We're out of time, so we're almost out of time, so let's finish this up. How would I finish this up? We did our photos. We did our basic Illustrator project. I would then want to go to InDesign on the desktop, but I don't have InDesign on my iPad. I have the next best thing. I have Adobe Comp CC. With Adobe Comp CC, that is your layout tool. That is your comping tool that will support, when you're finished, saving it as a PDF and sharing it, or sending it to Photoshop, Illustrator, or InDesign on the desktop. So for example, if I were to create a new one, I'm going to go ahead and choose, let's choose letter Y this time. I haven't worked in a wide format in a while. So now it gives me a blank page. So what do I do now? If I were laying this out on InDesign, I would probably start creating frames for the things that I want. So for example, I think I want that light bulb on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and create a frame for that. How do I create a frame? Well, I just draw an X, and it knows to make that a frame. I can pick that frame up, move it around, put it in the corner, size it, get it exactly where I want it to be. All right, I want my good ideas headline at the very, always good to see you respond to unexpected things. When I'm trying to draw, it's always unexpected. All right, anyway, let's say I want my headline now to go across the top. Well, all I do is just draw a straight line or somewhat straight line, put a dot after it. It knows that that should be text. Now, last time I showed last time I showed Comp, I was showing this on the InDesign stream. I forgot to tell people, well, what if you don't know these gestures? Like, I know them by heart, but what if you didn't know draw a line, put a dot, draw an X, makes a frame, draw a circle with an X in it, it makes a circular frame. Like, what if you scribble to delete it? What if you didn't know those things? Where would you find them? If you go into the gear, you will see your drawing gesture help at the very bottom. And that will give you all the things that you can draw to get the various things that you see there. So I know to draw a triangle in a triangle shape. I know to draw a rounded rectangle by drawing a rectangle and then putting a circle on one of the corners. I know to make a paragraph, draw a box, put 3 lines in it. I know to draw a line is to go out and back. That creates a line. Erase was just the scribble I just did. Plus sign would duplicate the last thing you just did. So lasso select is draw a little circle first and then lasso around the things you want. So pretty cool that this stuff works the way it works. So headline, I didn't know that's like not the headline I've been doing. So let me try that one. Let me draw a rectangle and put a dot next to it. Oh, cool. All right, so I've been doing it the not so headline way before. All right. Let's see, can I get rid of that? I just can't get rid of that this way, so let's trash it. All right, grab that. Let's put our headline up. I just learned a gesture that I had not been using. And now, for example, if I want some paragraph text here, that's one way to do it. And we'll just start drawing a paragraph. Now, what if I want my paragraph text to be smaller? That looks really big. You'll notice that whenever you have text selected, there's a little up and down scale to the right of it. If I pull that down, that'll actually make the type smaller, take font size smaller. Okay, so cool. We're getting there. So next thing we want is that photo. And by the way, I may do this. I may resize this. Let me put this over here and put that out there and then draw another X down here. And this is going to be for our photo. All right, so now I've got my layout kind of there. And now I want to start putting the content in. So at the very top would be the gestures are amazing for comp, learning something new today. Thank you. Okay, yep, go grab comp and check the gesture guide out. Let's say that I'm ready to now start putting content in. I don't have to draw a gesture to get a box. If I just want to bring in an image, I can just say, you know what, give me an image and go grab one off my device and go grab that postcard for reference, and boom, it just puts it on the canvas, and I can size it from there. However, the gestures to me are just more natural when you're on a mobile device. All right, so next thing, and so I got text up there, I got shapes, I got images all at the top. But if you've already created your shapes, for example, I want to bring that light bulb in, then it's the ones on the bottom because I select the frame that's already there and go grab the image from the bottom that I want. So this one's not on my device because we just drew it. Well, it is on the device, but it's in Illustrator Draw. Now I'm not going to take a photo. I'm going to go grab it from my files And notice at the very top, I can choose where it's going to come from. So I can say, go show me my Illustrator Draw projects. And if everything works, there's my light bulb. So I can go ahead and just bring that in and open it and bring that right into Comp CC. So I can scale that up a bit. My crop rectangle now is actually what's being, there we go. That and okay, yep, I want to keep it flat, but I want to scale it down. All right, I want to make it a little bigger. I'm just futzing with it now. Put it right there. Okay, next, I want to bring in that photo. Now, where's that photo? That photo was in Lightroom after we made the adjustment in Photoshop Fix. So I'm going to go back to my files. I'm going to switch from Illustrator Draw to Lightroom Photos. And it's in an album called Adobe Lightroom CC Live. And there will be two, one without the text on the screen, one with the text on the screen. We want the one we edited. There it is. Open that up and bring it in. So next and last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and call this Great Ideas. Okay, and I want that to be styled using our character style. Let's see if I can grab that. So I can go to My Libraries. I can go to that Adobe 2018 library, and there's one unsupported text style. Oh, we can't use that one. Oh, I blew it. But at least I know what it is. It's Atocha, A-T-O-C-H-A. Well, here's the previous one. I'm not sure why that one didn't come in, but the previous one did. So I can pull that one down, and I can make it that, but I really want that Atocha, so let me go grab it. Because even though it didn't pull it in this way, I can still go grab it from Typekit. A-T-O-C-H-A, I believe was how it was spelled. It was not, oh, or maybe that font just isn't available. Let me check. Yep. Select it, type. Following text style contains fonts that are not currently supported on this device. That's weird. Okay. Well, sorry, can't use that particular font for whatever reason. But I could use the other one that I'd captured before. And now, of course, I can go ahead and scale it up. And, of course, we can give it a color. So sorry about that font choice. But the other one that I'd captured previously worked fine. All right, we can go ahead and give this a color from our captured colors or from the previous library of captured colors. And then last but not least, if we want to span that out, we can. If we want to make that shorter, we can. If we want to duplicate that, we can and create two columns. Easy enough to duplicate that and put that in place. Now, at this point, you would, of course, fill in the rest of your text, which I'm just not going to take the time to type sample text, but you get the idea. Any of these can be resized and reshaped, so it kind of does the right thing with the photo. The photo can be repositioned inside the frame, as I had been doing. And if you're done, if this is all you wanted to do, by the way, there's one more thing I want to do. Let's draw a line and give that a nice rule to put under it. And then, of course, I can specify how thick that line is going to be and whatever color I want that line to be and whatever style I want that line to be. So pretty cool to be able to do this all on mobile, except for that one font. All right, so next up, if I were done, I could just simply share this as a PDF. It will, premium feature for a limited time. Okay. So anyway, it will allow me to share this as a PDF to whomever I want. And I could send it as an email, send it as an attachment, send it to whoever I want to send it to, and it goes out as a PDF. So far, we've done everything 100% on mobile. From start to finish, blank pages, even creating vector art. And at any given time, if I did want to continue this on the desktop, I could. So for example, I can also send this to either InDesign, Photoshop, or Illustrator. I like to send comp things to InDesign because it just makes more sense to me. But if I send it to InDesign, it will actually generate an IDML file, which is what InDesign uses to transfer from one version of InDesign to another. And then it will open it up completely editable with all the links, all the fonts, all the colors, everything you've used. And once it syncs, it should fire it up on the desktop, and here it comes. So now that is on the desktop and ready for me to work on. So if I want to work on it, I can, for example, oh, here's a good thing. We can salvage that. We can say, you know what, that one thing that I couldn't do, let's see if we can do it here. Let's go to our library, and there's that great ideas type, and we got it. No, we didn't, did we? Oh, I see why. That particular font I chose is a premium font that you have to purchase. That's why I couldn't use it on that device. So if I'm willing to buy that font, I can use it. That's what it was. Okay, now we know. I had good taste in fonts. But anyway, everything else is here, ready to use and available. So anything that I want to change, I can. Want to go ahead and put the type in now. Want to swap out the photos. Want to change the crop on this particular frame. Oops, wrong tool. There we go. I can crop that down a bit more. And bring that down a bit more. And bring that in a bit more, just so we're not overlapping. I can just keep working on this, and I have an InDesign document ready to go. All right, so mobile apps, as long as you don't use a paid font, you're good to go. Do it all on mobile or send it to the desktop if you choose to, whenever you choose to. So for free, on mobile, on iOS, on Android, check them out today. So far we used Adobe Lightroom CC, Adobe Photoshop Fix, Adobe Illustrator Draw, and then we wrapped it all up in Comp CC. There are other Adobe apps that I just didn't get to. And Capture CC. There's Adobe Photoshop Sketch. There is, of course, the Adobe Scan document for scanning PDFs. There is Photoshop Mix for doing compositing on mobile. So if you want to put multiple images together and add text, you can do that in Photoshop Mix. I think that about covers it. So, and of course, the Creative Cloud app to manage all your assets. So with that said, take care. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.